Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer. Today we have two... If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say. If you know, you know. Welcome to Cinnamon Stitches, where my husband calls every time I hit record on this camera. Every time. The first thing he said when I answered the phone, hello? He goes, are you recording? Yes. I literally just said my intro and you interrupted. Every time. I said, can you please just text me before you call from now on? Just text. Are you recording? The answer is yes. Don't call. You know what he wanted? To ask me if I wanted to go grocery shopping when he got off of work. Because I refused to go grocery shopping on Mother's Day. But it's a grocery week. And could you have texted me that, maybe? Like, sent me a little email? My husband. Welcome to Cinnamon Stitches. Let's try this again. I'm your yarn host, Jennifer. I made a very tiny purchase from Amazon. It was not a very expensive purchase from Amazon. Honestly, I saw this crochet hook and I wanted it, so I'm going to show you the crochet hook. No, it is not an Omi hook, and it's wood, so I mean it's going to surprise you. I'm opening my Amazon account now so I can look at prices. Now prices on Amazon fluctuate greatly, I'm just going to say that. Is it not going to show up now? Of course, it's not going to show up. Why would it show up? Where are my orders? Okay, there's that. I'm just checking prices. I should have did this before I opened. All right, 19. And I also bought a crochet book that I'm going to recommend for beginners, but I bought it for myself thinking it was something different, and it was not. This was $5. All right, so what had happened was I was perusing the Amazon. I was actually looking at stuff, like other stuff that was needed for the house, right? And I came across a brand new crochet hook that I had never seen before, and I was like, oh, but that's kind of pretty. I need to have it. It came in a box, and the box was in a bag. It was wrapped up very tightly so it didn't get broke. This hook right now is $19. Prices on Amazon do fluctuate. I have had people say after I bought something and showed it that the prices went up. And I think it's because Amazon's like, hey, there's interest, let's raise the price. I'm not positive on how that works, but that's what I feel like kind of happens sometimes. This crochet hook looked really cool. It is a wooden hook. The handle is wood and resin. It looked really cool, and I was like, I like that hook. I want to try it. It's really pretty. It's unique. These hooks are from Merit, and I have other hooks from Merit. Mr. Cinnamon got me started on the Merit hooks. I only have a handful because they're not ridiculously expensive. This is the set. Mr. Cinnamon bought me a set of two of these. Two of these, and these are hand spun, hand lathed hooks. The set of two of these at the time was $25 for both of them. So I have this one and another one, which I have no idea where the other one's at because it's not in its case. But I really like these hooks. The sizing, I don't know if the sizing is perfect because I have not measured them, but they seem to be on the chunkier side. And I really like the way these feel in my hand. And it's made from a really lightweight wood. So I know that I like, now I'm going to tell you this, I don't like wood hooks. I do not like bamboo hooks. They slow me down a lot. I actually, most of the time, will stay far away from wood hooks. I like the Merit hooks. And I always have. The shaft and the hook part is really smooth. And I just like them, okay? So I will link these below because a lot of people really like these ones. They also have some green ones that I have wanted forever, but he only sells the green ones in the full set, which is $100, and that's not going to happen right now. Actually, I don't think I'm ever going to pay $100 for a full set of hooks. It's a good price for what it is. but I know myself, and I don't use wood hooks enough to merit making that it's merit wood, that's funny, to merit making that purchase for myself personally. I've done a review on these hooks before. I really like them. I like the way they feel. I like the way they work up. They're smooth. They're good hooks. They're good hooks. So when I saw that Merit made this new design, I thought it was pretty. It was interesting. I like that it's see-through. I just think it's cool. I really like the way it looks. So I'm like, I'm going to buy it. Now, a couple things. The head feels completely smooth. The handle feels a little bit, not rough, but it almost feels like there's chips taken out of the resin in like 2 or 3 spots. Is it going to bother me long term the way I'm holding it? That remains to be seen, but I will give you an update. But I just thought this was a really cool hook. And I know that I like the Merit. And actually, I will turn the camera down and I will test this out. And another reason I bought this hook is because it comes in a weird size. This is a 7.5 millimeter hook. Okay, let me see if I can find the size. The size is right there. Come on. I've never seen a 7.5 millimeter crochet hook. They just don't exist. And for a lot of years, a 7 millimeter hook did not exist, which is why when you have the alphabetic, like crochet hooks have letters and numbers and sizes and all kinds of stuff. I don't go by the letters. I never have. When I learned on crochet hooks, I go by millimeters. So 5.5 millimeter or an I or an 8. Is that an 8? No, it's an I or a 9 or 5.5 millimeter. So depending on where you live and what you learned with, depends on what what you call your hook. Is it an I hook? Is it a 9 hook? Is it a 5.5 millimeter hook? Like that. Personal preference. I use 5.5 millimeter. I go by the millimeters. 7 millimeter hooks do not have a letter assigned to them because back in the day, from what I understand, a 7 millimeter was non-existent. It went 6, 6.5, 8. And also, like, I think a 12 is rare enough that 12 millimeter also is not assigned a letter. Or sometimes it could be assigned a letter, but it's also like, I think it's a P or something, but also like a 15 millimeter can be a P. Because those size hooks, when they invented the letter part of it, did not exist. 7.5 millimeter hooks, I've never seen, heard of, so I bought it because this is my unicorn hook. It is a one of a kind. It is rare. It's a weird, like, that's why I bought it. I've never seen 7.5 millimeter hook before, and I just wanted it, okay? I just wanted it. And what I was really looking for also is I was looking for a stitch dictionary. A to Z crochet, right? The ultimate guide for beginner to advanced crochet. Now, this book was only $5, so it was a steal because the ISBN price is $19 or $25 in Canada. And I'm thinking, it looks like my other Stitch Dictionary. I'm thinking it's going to be a Stitch Dictionary, but Amazon didn't have anything listed of what this book actually was. So I took a gamble and bought it, and then when I got it, I was like, okay, this is not at all what I thought. So we're going to do a book review right now. If you're a beginner and you're very new at crochet and you want to learn more about crochet itself, I would recommend this book. This book has a lot of pictures and lots of detail to, like, hey, this is what this, that, and this means. This is a lot of information I already know, so this book is kind of useless to me. But it talks about scissors and stitch markers and gauge, and if you want to make hairpin lace and all that good stuff, broomstick lace, and etc., etc., okay? Talks about reading patterns and charts, which is, I love charts. I love charts. I love graphs. But it talks about that. And it talks about the symbols that are in charts to show you what the charts might mean. Oh, US versus UK terminology. So a single crochet in American is a double crochet in the UK, which I already knew. The extended single crochet in American terms is the extended double crochet, and it gives you the symbol in your charts for what those look like. A double is a treble, a half double is a half treble, a triple is a double treble, a double triple crochet is a triple treble. Afghan stitch is the Tunisian stitch. Gauge is the same as tension, and skip is the same as miss. And it talks about different ways you can hold your hook and your yarn. I just had someone comment the other day that I was talking about my hook and I was crocheting, and it was the prim hook video, and I talked about knife grip versus pencil grip, and she said that the comment was something along the lines of pencil grip is the way she was taught, is the correct way, and it makes your stitches more even and stitches tighter and blah blah. And my response to her was, and this is a response to everyone who thinks that their way is the only way to crochet because that's what they were taught. Someone taught you that because someone else taught them that, and someone else taught them that. That does not make it the correct way. It also is not the wrong way. Whatever is comfortable for your hand or your wrist, and she also said something about it like is less strain on your wrist. I'm gonna be real honest. This causes way more pain in my wrist than this does. This is much smaller movements. So you may fully believe that the way you hold your hook is the way, the holy grail. It's not. It's the holy grail for you and you alone. Your hands, your muscles, your bones are different. They are unique to you. The way you hold your crochet hook and the way you hold your yarn is unique to you. There is not a right or a wrong way. There is a way that your brain understands, and the way your brain sends messages to your hand is also different person to person. Keep that in mind when you're judging somebody else for holding their yarn wrong or holding their hook wrong, because it's not the way you were told. The person who told you that might be wrong. Just saying. Let's not judge people, okay? There is not a right or wrong way to, if it gets done and it looks nice and it doesn't cause you pain, it's the right way. Because can I tell you, and this goes back to my knitting journey, you know how many times I was told I was knitting wrong? Easily 500 times. Someone told me I was knitting wrong. At least 500 times. Comment after comment after comment after comment. And there was no helpful, you're knitting wrong, but I can help you. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were a lot of people who were trying to help me. And I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about those of you who said, you're twisting your stitches. While that was irritating to hear it 100 times in a row, I was absolutely twisting my stitches, and no one, including myself, could figure out why I was twisting them until I came across this glorious video about Russian knitting, and she knitted exactly the way I was knitting. And she told me in the video what I was doing and how she was doing it and why you do go through the front and why you go through the back. And I knit through the back loop. It is way faster. But if you don't wrap the yarn the correct way when knitting through the back loop, your pearls will be twisted. You have to use the correct combination of knitting versus purling together to get the stitches to line up. I learned that the hard way. I cannot wrap my brain around, well actually I can now because I really practiced for a long time, but I could not for a long time wrap my brain around any other way to knit than the way I was doing it until I saw someone whose motor skills were similar to mine, and then it made sense. So that's what I'm saying. There's not a right and there's not a wrong way when it comes to knitting, crochet, any art that you do. There are techniques that you can learn. There are methods you can learn, but you have to adapt to what works for your brain. Like, some people are neurodivergent, and that means their brain works differently than yours does, and the messages that get sent to their hands from their brains is a different message than a neurotypical person's message would go from their brain to their hands. Not only that, like, we are all wired differently. We all have, like, there's people who have arthritis. I'm one of them. There are people who have rheumatoid arthritis. There are people who have, there's all kinds of issues that could cause people to have to hold their hook differently, hold their yarn differently, wrap their yarn differently. There's not a right or a wrong way. Now I'm stepping down off of my soapbox because I wanted to show this book. It's cool for a beginner. And there may be something in here that maybe I didn't know before. It shows you how to make a slip knot. And see, there's lots of pictures. Also, if you want to know how to make a slip knots are pretty easy. I show them in all of my tutorials. Talks about single crochet, half double crochet, how to fasten off. These are all things that I know. Joining yarns, joining with the slip stitch. This is all, I really thought it was going to be a stitch dictionary because, oh, there are stitches in here. Hang on. Bobbles, how to make bobbles. And I like this because it's step by step, but I already know how to make bobbles. The bullion stitch. I didn't know how to make the I guess there are stitches in here. A bullion stitch. Clusters. Well, maybe I didn't look at this. There are stitches in here. It's just not what I expected. I expected a stitch dictionary. Although, I just got done talking to you guys the other day. I don't remember what video it was. It might have been a members video. I was talking about I wanted a book that showed the stitches, but also showed what the edges look like, because very often with my stitch dictionary, it just shows like the center part where it's all perfect. I want to know what the edges are supposed to look like and the first row is supposed to look like, and that does do this, but there's not a lot of stitches in here. There's, let's see, from page 36 to 62 is a handful of stitches, and that's it. So while it kind of has what I need, it's not exactly what I wanted. It shows how to crochet with beads and sequins. Broomstick lace. Circular crochet, which has motifs in here. So for $5, I don't feel like it's a huge lot. Oh, they have an A to Z knitting and an A to Z sewing guide to go along with the crochet. So it's not exactly what I wanted. It was only $5. And there may be something in here kind of value. But it's not, I was a little bit disappointed because I really just wanted another stitch dictionary. Because I have worn my stitch dictionary through, because that's a lot of times when I'm designing something, I will flip through my stitch dictionary and I will put together stitches from the stitch dictionary to say, hey, these look pretty together, let's go from there. And so that's what I was hoping for, but it's still, it's a valuable book for someone who is a beginner. It says beginner to advanced crocheter. This is not for an advanced crocheter. An advanced crocheter already knows most of this, as I know most of it. And I don't even consider myself advanced. But it's still interesting. And there's lots of pictures. Lots of pictures. They have edging and stuff in here. It's like a little taste of this, a little taste of that. They show you how to crochet around buttons and stuff. As a matter of fact, this crochet around... Let me see if I can find it. They're crocheting around a circular thing. It looks like it's just a plastic clip. This is a real good way to make wreaths for Christmas ornaments, but also you could use the same technique and make hair ties. You just want to use a yarn that's not going to rip your hair out. Something smooth and shiny. So those are my Amazon purchases. Let's go down to the table and let's test out this hook. This hook is not as smooth as the other Merit hooks I have. So we're going to test it out, which means I need to find a fat yarn that will go with a 7.5mm hook. Because, I mean, it's 7.5mm. Let's go to the table. Well, we're just going to use leftovers from the tutorial from earlier in the week. This is a Karen cotton cake that has been flattened out. So the holes are probably going to be really big and gapey in this yarn, but it just occurred to me that I got rid of a lot of my scraps. Oh, no, I didn't. Right here. There we go. This one's a little bit fatter. This one is actually a bulky yarn, which would make more sense. This is the carousel yarn that I reviewed, which is why it's a big old barfy mess right now, because I reviewed it for a video and it's in my scrap bin. It'll work. This is actually bulky. It makes more sense than using the Karen one. This also is not a super soft yarn, so if it don't work with this yarn, I'm not gonna care. This is a chunky hook. It is chunky. Like, not only is it 7.5 millimeters here, it actually feels like it might be bigger than 7.5 millimeters. I should probably get my gauge thing out and test it, but it's chunky here. Like, it's chunky, but it's not heavy at all. And I will actually get out my scale and weigh it for you guys. I have not used this hook. I just literally unboxed it for you, so it has barely been out of the package. So aside from it being really chunky, which may be a huge problem for some people, it doesn't bother me at all. I actually like working with really thick handles. It causes a lot less strain on my hand, because I literally, when I have a small handle, I do a death grip on it. I do the same thing with knitting needles. Like, I will grip it so hard on a knitting needle that I get indentations permanently in like that. Like, I will death grip my knitting needles until I have a dent. Which is why I like the thick handle crochet hooks, which is why that's what you see me use most frequently, because I like it. I'm barely holding on to it. So if I show you, I'm not gripping it at all. I'm literally just letting it set in my fingers. That's why I like these big ones. Some people hate the big ones, and I'm showing you more my hand than I am the stitches, so you can see that I'm barely holding on to this. This saves a lot of wear on my hands, because like I said, you see that? My bulging veins. When I'm working, I get a lot of pain in there where that is bulging at. I get a lot of pain specifically when I'm knitting, because I death grip, or if I have a small hook, which is why you don't see me using very small hooks, and why I don't do amigurumi, because I death grip. And I cause myself a lot of pain in my hands. And like I said, I have arthritis in my hands. I also have really bad flare-ups in my hands, where my hands will swell up and be very painful. And I'm not interested in putting myself through pain for my art. And that's why I prefer the big, fat, chunky handles. Alright, now, it's crocheting up just fine. There's not any... Let me find my scale. There's not any wear and tear extra, like, on the yarn, and this yarn is not soft. So the fact that it's sliding through like butter, it's not at all grippy like some bamboo hook. I hate bamboo hooks. I hate bamboo hooks. I also hate bamboo knitting needles because they slow me down. This does not feel like it's wood, okay? There's wood. There are little pocks. You see that? It does not hang up on the yarn at all. It's not rough. There's not splinters hanging from it. And that's why I like the Merit hooks, because this very much looks like a rustic handmade hook. It's beautiful. And it works well. It's a good, and it has the type head I like. So it has a good point here. It has a deep throat here. It is inline. It is not, it's more Susan Bates style than boy, but that's what I prefer. It also is long, like the other hooks that I prefer, like the Omi and Furls. So if you like the Omi or the Furls hooks, this is a really good hook. Alright, made my cute little swatch. Alright, let's weigh this. We're at 0. It's 38 grams. Now let's compare that to a Furls Odyssey, which are my heaviest of hooks, 39. So it's only slightly less than the Furls Odyssey. This is my Susan Bates hooks. These are 32 grams. So they're very similar in weight. They're definitely lighter than the all resin ones, which are only around 20 grams. $26 grams. This is a basic ergonomic hook. Those are 14 grams, so they're double the weight of one of these, but it's not, like, it's not, it feels light in my hand. It does not feel heavy at all. And it, well, see, now it says 37 grams. Whereas this one is, what, 39? 40, 39. So it's slightly less than the Furls Odyssey hooks. It doesn't feel as heavy as the Odyssey. It feels, these feel heavy all the way through. This just feels like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It doesn't feel heavy. It's also a big honking hook. So the smaller the hook, like if you didn't get a 7.5 and you got like a 5mm, which is the size I use most often, it's actually going to weigh less than this one. It will probably be closer to like, I don't know, 30 grams. But yeah, I will link these below if you're interested. They're on Amazon. The crochet book is on Amazon. This really nice crochet hook is on Amazon. As is, I believe they still have these. Let me measure this one while we're at it. Come on. That one's only 33, so that one's actually lighter. And that's a 5.5mm. So that should give you an idea. This is 5.5mm. That one's 33 grams. Whereas the 7.5mm is 38. Yeah. Decent hooks. I like the Merit hooks. I have featured them before on the channel. I think the Merit hooks they're really good hooks. They are a really good present for someone. Even for yourself, I'm just saying. They're a really good gift to give for a crocheter. They are beautiful. They are like works of art. And they're good hooks. Especially if you like the Susan Bates style hook. But aren't they beautiful? They're beautiful and they're functional. One of the main problems I have had is I have thought that I gotta buy the more expensive hook. And Furls hates when I show these hooks. Furls hates when I show these hooks. They have actually emailed me and told me, just send it back to us. No, I'm not sending it back because it makes content. I have bought the fancy hooks from Furls. The fancy. Now, Mr. Cinnamon bought me one of these. I bought the other one. This is Furls' idea of a fancy hook. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I hate this hook. I would refuse to use this hook. This hook was like $80. $80. You see what I'm saying? Look at that. It's like that's baby. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's way too small for my hand. Let me get my tape measure out. The Furls version is not even 6 inches long. If you like short hooks, you might like the Furl version. The Merit is 7 inches, which is what I love my hooks to be, 7 inches. And it's also a difference of, this one was 15, this one's 20, that one was 80. Oh, but look, I purchased one too. So I have these beautiful works of art from Furls that I refuse to absolutely use. They are too small for my hand, and this part of the hook, the throat, is way, way too deep. And coming back, see, you see how long that is? Coming back through the stitches, that snags every time. Oh, I hate these hooks so much. They're beautiful, and I'm keeping them because they're beautiful works of art. But when you're like trying to crochet like this, it will snag and grip every single time. And they're way too small for my hands. Like, they jab me right there. Just jab and jab and jab. They're smooth. They're beautiful. They're works of art. But I don't like this hook at all. See, it's already jabbing me and irritating the crap out of me. And also, that part right here is just way too sharp. Way too sharp. And like I said, Furls hates. They hate when I show that. This one's obviously much smaller. It's probably not going to work as well, but. I'm having to pull back extra to make the loops bigger because that part wants to grip every time. So beautiful hooks, but expensive. They're expensive. And the ones from Merit are a better hook, in my honest opinion. And I'm an affiliate through Furls, so I should be promoting the heck out of the Furls expensive ones, but I'm not because I prefer the Merit. Real talk. So, you find my tangled mess and put it back where it belongs. In the pile of tangled mess. Oh, dang it. I just dropped a bunch of stickers on the floor. So, yeah. I will link these below. I will link the book below in case you're interested. It's a good book. It's just not what I expected it to be because I wanted more stitches. But it's a decent book for $5. It was $4.89. And, yeah, I think that's it for today. So, thank you so much for... Here, hang on. Because I love it. Oh, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.